You know, it's fascinating how the human mind works, isn't it? Just consider for a moment how often you're guided through life by influences that seem so natural, so seamless. They may not even recognize the powerful impact that they have on you. And yet they shape your beliefs, your thoughts, your actions, in ways you can't even begin to fully grasp right now. But that's okay, because as you continue listening, you'll notice how this understanding begins to unfold naturally, almost effortlessly. When you start to see it, you'll realize how many things you've already experienced in life, how many moments, how many choices have been influenced by the subtle patterns of thoughts that weave their way through every conversation, every interaction. Have you ever noticed how sometimes, without even realizing it, you start believing something simply because it feels true in the moment? Yes, it's so natural to fall into the rhythm of what's being presented, to trust in what you're told, even when the actual truth might be something else entirely. Isn't it interesting how powerful the words are that we hear every day? The subtle, almost invisible ways they can make you feel a certain way, think a certain way, act a certain way. You've probably heard of stories of people whose beliefs were shifted, whose actions were guided by simple words, ideas and suggestions. And those words, those patterns, they don't just affect the surface, they reach deep into the unconscious, influencing your very perception of reality itself. And so you might find it fascinating how when you're in rapport with someone, when the energy is flowing just right, it becomes so much easier to accept what they say without even questioning it. It's almost like you tune in with them, a perfect match of thought, belief and attention. Your mind naturally begins to focus less on the logic of it all, and instead begins to flow along with their rhythm, their patterns, as if you're mirroring them without even realizing it. Imagine for a moment just how much easier it would be to take in new ideas, new beliefs, when you're deeply engaged with someone who knows how to speak to your unconscious mind. Can you picture yourself in that space, where their words aren't just heard but felt? Where each word they speak, each suggestion they make, it feels so right, so natural, that it simply becomes your truth. You see, when you're in that state, your critical factor, the part of your mind that questions and analyzes everything, it begins to fade into the background. You begin to relax, let go, and just accept what's being said. And that is when change happens. It's almost effortless. You've experienced it before, haven't you? A moment when you didn't question, didn't challenge, but simply accepted what was true, even if you'd never considered it before. And in those moments, those suggestions, they work their way deep inside you, don't they? Because once your mind feels safe, once it feels that connection, you're ready to accept those new beliefs. Imagine then what it would be like if you were in a position where you could guide yourself. You could tap into the same power of influence using your words, your own energy, to shape your reality. The thing is, there are these subtle moments, these small cues that most people never even notice. Like the way someone might nod their head slightly when they agree, or how their eyes seem to sparkle when they hear something that resonates with them. Have you ever noticed that? And once you're aware of these things, once you begin to really see the patterns, you start to realize just how powerful those small gestures, those brief moments can be. You begin to recognize the unconscious rhythm of every conversation, how people are drawn to certain words, certain phrases, certain ideas. And without realizing it, they start to absorb those ideas, those beliefs, just like you do. Now imagine, just for a moment, how easy it would be to use those same cues, those same patterns to guide someone else, to be able to mirror their thoughts and beliefs, to pace them to such a degree. By the time you lead them to a new idea, they believe it completely, effortlessly. And even more exciting, what if you could use those same techniques to shape your own beliefs, to shift your own mindset in such a powerful way? It feels as though it's the most natural thing in the world. Just think about that for a second. What would it be like if you could effortlessly pace yourself into a state where you're primed to accept a new belief, where the new thought feels so right, so aligned with your values, that your mind doesn't even hesitate to accept it. Can you see how that could change everything for you? And then, once you've mastered the art of pacing and leading, you can start to apply these techniques to almost any situation. It's like learning to play an instrument, the way you can move from one idea to another with fluidity and ease, guiding someone along the path you've already laid out for them. They won't even see it coming, because by the time you lead them, they're already in sync with you. Their unconscious mind is already accepting, absorbing, and integrating the new belief as if it were their own all along. Now you might begin to notice that as you become more aware of these subtle patterns, you start to see them everywhere. And as you see them, you begin to understand how you can use them. Not just to guide others, but to guide yourself, to shape your own reality, your own beliefs, and to create the life you truly desire. Because when you know how to pace and lead, when you understand how the unconscious mind works, you'll never be the same again. You'll see the world through a different lens. A lens that shows you how you can influence, how you can change, how you can create your own future, one thought at a time. It's powerful, isn't it, to know that you have the ability to change your reality simply by becoming more aware of the subtle ways in which beliefs are formed. And as you begin to understand these principles more deeply, you'll start to notice how much easier it is to navigate your own life, your own experiences. You'll find yourself becoming more confident, more self-assured, because you've unlocked the secret to controlling your own thoughts, your own beliefs, your own future. And all of this is happening naturally, isn't it? Because as you listen, as you absorb these words, you begin to internalize them. And the more you do, the more you'll notice your unconscious mind is already beginning to shift, already beginning to integrate these ideas into your reality, just as effortlessly as your own breath.